Hi, my name is Jan Ole Hesselberg. I'm the Chief Program Officer at the Norwegian Foundation DAM, and I'm also a PhD candidate at the Department of Psychology at the University of Oslo. I did this study together with my colleague Ida Svege, who's also an associate professor at the Oslo Metropolitan University. As you might know, grant peer review is important. Billions of euros are distributed through grant peer review processes every year. But there is room for improvement. It is a fairly weak predictor of future research performance, and low inter-rater agreement is a major concern. We know that few reviewers receive formal training, and we believe that training in the use of the review scale might improve agreement. Our objective is to evaluate the effect of receiving a simple individual feedback report compared to a general feedback report on the agreement between reviewers. To do this, we conducted a randomized controlled superiority trial with two parallel groups, individual and general feedback. The participants were reviewers in the funding program Health at the Norwegian Foundation DAM. The main outcome was the proportion of agreement both in eligibility and in agreement on application score. Agreement here was defined as a maximum difference of 1 on a scale from 1 to 10. Every application was scored by 3 reviewers independently on a scale from 1 to 10. There were no fixed sets of reviewers, and therefore we used agreement between pairs of reviewers in the same feedback group as the dependent variable. 42 reviewers were randomized. We ended up with 41 reviewers at follow-up, 19 in the individual group and 22 in the general group. Every reviewer reviewed between 63 and 70 applications, and we analyzed 1,138 paired reviews. This is the individual feedback report. It is specific to each reviewer. They got 2 of these reports, one before the start of the review period with data from the previous review period, and one with data from the current review period so that they could adjust their scores. They got information on how often they scored the application as ineligible and their average scores compared to the rest of the review group. They also got a graph of their score distribution compared to the score distribution of the committee as a whole. This is the report that the general feedback group got. It's the same for every person in that group. It's non-specific and they got 1 report. It contained information on the applications and the applicants and a graph of the score distribution in the committee as a whole. The results show that there was no difference in agreement on application score. There was a difference in agreement on application eligibility. However, it went in the opposite direction of what we expected. We calculated the intra-class correlations for the 2 groups regarding application agreement on application score. And as you can see, the confidence intervals are overlapping. In short, we found no support for our main hypothesis. There was no significant difference in agreement in application score. There was a significant difference in the opposite direction for eligibility agreement. This is in line with research on journal peer review. A systematic review by Bruce et al. Found no effect of training on the quality of peer review reports. There are some limitations to our study. It is a convenience sample, which limits external validity. It's clearly underpowered, and even though the reviewers confirmed they had received the report, we do not know if they actually read it and used it. We still think that training in the use of the scale might be useful, but it's not clear if the feedback report is specific enough for this purpose. A training session in the interpretation of the report might be necessary. This feedback report will still be used by the funder. It's very low cost. It's appreciated by the reviewers, and the ICC is higher in the individual group, though not significantly. The main point here should still be that agreement was critically low. And we think that there's a need for research on factors contributing to low agreement and development and testing of training intervention, and also research on the validity of grant peer review. Meanwhile, there is a need for a sufficient number of reviewers to secure reasonable levels of reliability. And that was our study. Thank you.